talk with you today about a topic that is very near and dear to many of our hearts. It is called analysis paralysis, and I'm here today to talk to you about what this looks like, how overthinking can actually get you stuck and wipe out your productivity, and what you can do about it. So, this is one of my most favorite topics to talk about because I think that it happens a lot more than people realize. Typically, what I like to say is that, when we get stuck, there's always an important reason for that, whether it's in making a business decision, something in your life, in a relationship, you name it. Stuck is important. And yet, as a society, we don't always think about that. So this is one of my most favorite topics to talk about is this idea of being stuck. And in the business world, we call this analysis paralysis, right? And I don't know about you, but usually when I need more information or I find a new topic I'm interested in, when in doubt, I'll Google it, right? That's become that new phrase. And this seems to be a pretty common mechanism that a lot of people use these days. And to be sure, having immediate access to these vast amounts of data and information, all by the simple press of a button, is a huge advantage that business leaders and entrepreneurs did not have before us. At the same time, having too much information can be incredibly overwhelming and even really counterproductive when it comes to making decisions as a business owner and entrepreneur. One of the most powerful responsibilities of a business owner is to make decisions, and we're making them all day long, right? Big ones, small ones, you name it, it's our job. And so getting lost in analysis paralysis is a common way that business owners get bogged down when it comes to decision making and all the things that it takes to move that business forward. And a big part of this is because of all the information immediately available at our fingertips. It's really easy to get lost and ultimately buried underneath piles of information that in the beginning you thought were helpful and likely was, but only ends up clouding your ability to make those decisions and ultimately decreases the ability to really focus on anything else and get anything else done. And I'm one of those people in large part because of my combination of Myers-Briggs and Enneagram types that seeks only perfection and success in everything I do. Failure is not an option in my book, and anything less than perfection is absolutely unacceptable. And I think that's true for many entrepreneurs. We've never been in this exact moment or situation before. So we're not going to always have the skills that it takes to easily navigate. And yet, so many of us pretend like we're supposed to know what to do, right? We tend to put that kind of pressure on ourselves. High achievers tend to do that. We fall victim to this idea that we're supposed to make this right decision and know how to pull it off perfectly and get the biggest return on our investment and not make mistakes. And this is usually where analysis paralysis starts to happen for people. It's about a pressure. It's about something that's happening inside of a person who is trying to make a decision based on the facts, based on the resources that they have, and yet at the same time are really struggling because of a conflict that's happening inside, this pressure. And I typically tend to be of the mind that, when we're thinking about how to change and how to grow and how to work on becoming stronger business owners and entrepreneurs, that deeper second order change is required if we really want to make a difference in our businesses and in the services and products that we offer. We want to really create an authentic, helpful, genuine thing. I've never been one to waste a whole lot of time on dealing with symptoms or changing my behaviors. These kinds of higher level, more superficial levels of interventions, although perfectly okay and perfectly acceptable for some, they're just never been my cup of tea. I don't believe in spending a lot of time or money or energy playing that proverbial whack-a-mole game where you change one behavior over here or you implement a new strategy only to find something else pop up in its place. When someone gets stuck in analysis paralysis, it's because of something much deeper than the outside world. And what I find interesting is that many coaching programs and gurus tout that more behavioral approach. They emphasize the necessity of implementing a different strategy or a behavior program or having an accountability buddy that can keep us on track. And although there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of those things. Those are really wonderful supports. The issue is that they don't actually address that real deeper underlying issue that's happening inside of someone when they get stuck in analysis paralysis. But what they do ensure is that you're going to need to keep paying those coaches and those gurus and staying in those programs because your issue is never really going to go away. They're just teaching you how to manage it instead of deal with it. I tend to drift towards that deeper, sustainable change that ensures we're going to get the most bang for our buck, the most bang for our investment when it comes to growth and evolution. And this approach is all about correcting that real underlying and mostly unconscious issue that underpins what's happening when you're overthinking something. You know, that old analysis paralysis thing sets in and you end up stuck watching productivity really go down. Your clock's ticking by, your team's slowing down, you're slowing down, that list of things you've got to do is not decreasing. So what I'm going to do is share with you today what's really happening when you find yourself stuck in overthinking things and what you can do to address it for once and for all. Smart? I sure think so. I mean, it sounds like a savvy business move to me, right? And I can sure remember, folks, when I was starting out actually with my therapy practice so many, many years ago, I used to get bogged down all the time in all the minutia of decisions like where to host a website, what do I call my business, what scheduling service should I use, should I spring the money to pay for an accounting software, do it for myself, those types of decisions that come with getting a business up and running. And even now, 11, 12 years later in my own private practice, as I've had my own business, as I'm growing and expanding and offering coaching services and programs now, I still find myself getting hung up sometimes in analysis paralysis. And usually when this happens, it's an indication to me that something much deeper and unconscious is at play. I like to think that when I get caught up in overthinking a decision, it's usually not about that scheduling software. It's more of an inside job. And what's happening is that inside, there's a deeper, invisible, and unconscious conflict going on between what you want, or perhaps even what your instincts are telling you you ought to do, and what you've led to believe or been told by other people that you should want or that you should do. It's really that simple. Analysis paralysis is really about a conflict inside. It's about getting stuck between what you believe is important and perhaps even you want to investigate and explore, and what the common sense and gurus. And don't get me wrong, paying attention to other people's experiences and learning about what they did, what worked and didn't, is powerful. It is so powerful. At the same time, part of what makes you you and what makes your business unique is you and your instincts and your ideas and the energy you put into it. So, everybody gets caught in analysis paralysis of some sort or another. Everybody gets stuck in that conflict between what they think or want and what somebody else is telling them. The bugaboo about it, though, is that most people don't have any idea that what this is about is a much deeper place of conflict, or in many cases, people don't even want to know, which is fine. But when that's happening, I promise you folks, no amount of behavioral intervention or accountability buddies are going to stop this train from rolling. It's like trying to fix a leaky roof by putting a bucket underneath the leak. Temporary solution for an issue that is much bigger and really totally ineffective when you're dealing with a hole in the roof. I was told once by a mentor that there's no place in life that right or wrong exists other than math. And if you think about it, it's really true. So when you're getting hung up in overthinking something, there's definitely a deeper conflict going on inside between making a right or wrong decision and then the aftermath that you'll have to deal with. So picture this. This is how this happens. Picture this. As a kid, you wake up on a Saturday morning and all you want to do is watch cartoons, and yet the powers that be, they have different ideas and expectations for you and for your day. So the dilemma becomes, if you stick to your guns and defy your orders, right, you're going to have to deal with the fallout. An upset parent, getting grounded, left behind, yelled at, something unpleasant likely is going to happen. On the other hand, if you give yourself up and go with what you're being told to do, then although you might keep your boss happy, you're going to feel upset and dissatisfied inside. So it's a lose-lose dilemma. And since a kid or an employee in some cases has to know that they're still okay in their parents' book, their boss's book, most likely they're going to do what they're told every time. And the more that they get supported for doing what they're told, the more that individual's going to learn to not listen to themselves and what they believe and want is right for them. So fast forward 20, 30, 40 years, and unless you've dealt with that old dilemma inside, it's going to keep popping up and interfering with your ability to discern between what you want and what you should do, or what your business coach, the data, the research tells you to do. And again, I'm not bashing coaches and gurus and data. I'm just saying we all need to learn to make more room for ourselves and our business instincts too, right? We think about growing and scaling a business. That's part of what it is learning to grow and scale yourself. Your business is only going to move forward as far as you're willing to move forward. And that's what makes it so difficult to get out of analysis and paralysis. It's not about the here and now. It's not about the scheduling software or whether to take the day off. It's about how old, outdated beliefs, old, outdated patterns are still operating now. And it's also why it feels so irrational, because it is. It's a piece of unfinished business from your past that is interfering with your ability to be successful, to make sound decisions in the here and now. And unless you go back and work on that deeper personal dilemma inside, it's going to keep playing out like this over and over and over throughout the rest of your life, no matter how many behavioral strategies you implement, accountability buddies, you name it. So what you can do is this. The next time you find yourself hung up in analysis paralysis, ask yourself, wonder if this has something to do with my past. Kate said on that last Facebook Live, it might. And then pay attention to what happens next. For those of you who are truly invested in growing yourself as much as your business, you're going to find some really interesting responses, I promise you. But even more importantly, the greatest thing you can do is get out of your own head and go work through this with someone who's trained to help you resolve this internal dilemma that's left over from your past. It's not about the decision in front of you that you're trying to make. It's about how what's happening now is triggering some old pattern that's unfinished inside of you. And a smart business owner knows you are only going to move forward in your business to the degree that you're willing to look back and deal with what's going on inside. You're only going to thrive as far in your life as you're willing to deal with what's going on deep inside. And that's really it, folks. You have to grow yourself as a person in order to get to where you want in your business. It absolutely 100% all starts with you. And when you dive deeply into learning how you tick and where you get hung up in your life, then you're going to organically know how to lead others to their own layers of genius inside of them. And that's what creates engaged employees, happy customers, high productivity, the kind of place where someone wants to be, wants to buy from, and wants to be a part of. And as always, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye for now.